Right, folks, your statistics are alarming. Your statistics. See, while hate crimes committed against the homeless are not considered hate crimes like targeting a pedophile is. That's right, folks. It's okay to target a homeless person. It is not okay to target a pedophile. How strange is that? But you can bypass that. You just accuse them and never take them to court. Like Matty Boa. Matty Boa, when did I ever touch you? Come on, I want you to think about it. When were you and I ever in Virginia together? I want you to think about it before you go spreading more slander. Now, we say what? 1 in 3 women is sexually assaulted before the age of 18. Between 1 in 4 and 1 in 6 men. So if we consider those numbers and we just base it on women, right? There's 330 million people in the United States. Let's cut that in half. It's 165 million. That's a pretty significant number. Let's divide that by 3. Still a lot, isn't it? Let's see. 55 million. Is that correct? 55 million women before the age of 18. That is pretty significant. The numbers for men are pretty significant too. They're not far behind. We need to stop treating all men like they're predators. And we need to stop shaming the victims who are males as if they're the predators. This needs to stop. The way that men are treated when they are victimized results directly in homelessness. And you know what? Women end up out there too. I'm not talking about the Van's Life folks who are doing this by choice, because they're actually doing this by choice. I'm talking about the people who are victimized into having to flee their abusers repeatedly, especially men. Having to flee our abusers. We're not heard by the police when we're gang stalked, when we're harassed, threatened, and assaulted. We're not heard. Well, let's talk about those 55 million women anyway. Those are the ones you care about. That is still a pretty hefty portion of our population, is it not? Now let's talk about sexual assault on the streets. That is where you are most likely to be sexually assaulted, and that includes being sexually assaulted by police officers, off-duty police officers, firefighters. Yes, it happens often. That's not saying that every police officer is a rapist or every firefighter is a rapist, because for surely most of them are not, I would hope. But also there's that power of they can say whatever they want, call you mentally ill. They can rape you on the hood of their vehicle as long as they believe nobody's going to help you to turn it in right away. Well, shit. That officer in Adams County showed that, didn't he? 27 years on the force. Took a mentally ill woman home. How do I know that? Read the paperwork. If you know the terminology and you've been through the shit, you know what it is. You know what it means. There's a lot of people out there who have never been through a actual domestic abuse situation. There's a lot of people that don't know what it's like, how we're really treated out here on the streets. And there's a lot of people who don't realize that, all right, so 0.18% of our population, that's the homeless. Almost 600,000 people. But that's not counting the 81% of the incarcerated who were homeless when arrested. "96% of those killed by police are men. The most likely target of a violent attack is a man. Men are less likely to turn it in, and men are less likely to be aggressors in a situation between a man and a woman. When we say it's never okay to hit a woman, I disagree. I say it's never okay to assault anybody. But it is always okay to defend yourself. Nobody should be afraid to call the police when they're being assaulted. But every man has to be afraid that he might in fact be the one being arrested based on public opinion. What cop wants to hear the wrath of arresting the woman in a domestic violence situation? We don't even want to believe. No, we know that women are very often aggressors. How many of you women will pretend that women have never gotten violent in front of you or been violent to you because you're trying to paint a narrative that women aren't violent? People are violent. It's a choice. Your gender doesn't determine that choice. Now, you want to talk about pressure, how you are pressured to look prettier than the next girl. You know what? Us boys are the same way. We're pressured to be good looking. We're pressured to be taller, darker, handsomer, with more money. And we need all of the trade skills, and we need to be able to have a magic wand so that we can do it all at once. Now, I want you to stop and consider that we're going to ignore that right now. And we're going to talk specifically about abuse against women out on the streets. Out on the streets, you stick predators with victims. The most victimized people in the country. The easiest to take advantage of people on the country. The entire country. Those are the ones who are homeless. And then, where do you put the worst of the worst after you let them out of prison? Out on the streets with us. Not that it matters. If he goes to his mom's house, who cares? Right? She'll take care of him. And then he'll come out and he'll be smart enough to pick homeless women next time. Isn't that a horrible thing to say? If he'd have picked a homeless woman, he could have raped a different one every day. And that is the sad fact out here. And then you want to fix these people who have been victimized over and over by giving them fucking drugs. You want to give them medications. You want to tell them to get off of the drugs, and then you want to give them more drugs. That doesn't give them a safe environment where it's not as easy to fucking gain access to them and rape them. Then, of course, we got the addicts that you throw out here with us. You throw them out here with us. You don't want them. You're not going to provide them a place. So what are they doing? They're hitting the streets. They're making it fucking worse for people who are victimized into homelessness. People who have to do desperate things and live in desperate situations. Prostitution in America is a lot bigger thing than you want to believe, too. There's a lot of women who've told me that they have had to be a girlfriend to have a roof over their head. Mostly ones with children. That becomes a very desperate situation. It's a very desperate situation for a man, too. If he's not a good-looking man, he doesn't have that to fall back on. If he ain't a pretty boy, he ain't gonna get no sugar mama. It's just how it is. We have to accept it. We have to accept that you can be ugly. A lot of people are like, oh, well, you know what? You can't say that ugly men can't get beautiful women. Look at Donald Trump. Who cares who's getting who? My loved ones are out here being fucking raped, being fucking killed, and you care about who's fucking who? What's on the History Channel? Who's fucking who and how to fall in an ice hole? Holy shit. Oh yeah, and then we got Ancient Aliens. Aliens! Alright, I get it. I get it. I like Tolkien. I really do. I like his books. I like fantasy. And maybe, just maybe, your aliens are real. Maybe. Chances are probably not. That's not to say that there's no alien life out there. There could be algae in a pond somewhere, only a few hundred light years away. That's alien. Well, actually, I guess it would be domestic because it's on its own planet. And you guys look for any excuse, any bite that you can grab to try to make things better for just your people. Well, that just makes you selfish. And everybody sees that selfishness and they go, you know what? Maybe if you weren't all about you, but that they all about them, ain't they? Everybody uses that as an excuse to look the other way, from both male and female victims. You look away from both male and female predators, too. But statistically, who are you most likely to let get away with it? Who's going to get a light sentence? Who's going to get 8 months? Who's going to get a slap on the wrist? Who? Brenda Griffith, Alliance, Nebraska. She's a registered Nebraska sex offender, but she's a woman, so it's different for her. She got released after 8 months. There's that lady in Colorado, 31 years old, got pregnant by a 13-year-old boy. She got no jail time. Women are less likely to go to jail when they're doing something fucked up. How many times have you watched a woman beat on a man's vehicle, smash his windshield in, and said nothing? I know my mom has done that to more than one vehicle and more than one husband. She felt it was owed to her to allow her to abuse them over and over. And they're not supposed to say anything because they're men. Boys don't cry. Isn't that what we're taught? A man's job is to protect the women and the children. That is never going to stick, is it? I hate my seatbelt. And I hate my shoulder. They both hurt. Now, I was able to get a hold of a guy I know. Mr. Mateo, you got to see how much of a dick I was. He said, I understand you're angry and you're lashing out. You're hurt and you're lashing out. I'm like, that hurt part is the important part. When you're being harmed and your friends are looking the other way because you're different, that's horrible. It doesn't feel good to be treated like that. Well, I try to believe everybody. I try to believe that nobody would lie to me about being abused. But it turns out that there are a lot of people who use that as a tool to harm others. And I can't deny that. I can't just look the other way and pretend that I don't know personally a whole bunch of women who have done stuff like that. Exactly like that. To men that I know. And I've seen the difference between saving a life and what it takes for a life to end. When you want to hold on to your pride as a female, right? Oh, well, women would never do this. We're going to focus on men. And then we've got female nurses. Female nurses are at the top of the body count, all right? Very top. I'm not talking about most likely to be murdered. I'm talking about most likely to fucking kill you. As a serial killer, yes, serial killer nurses, specifically female serial killer nurses. When we're talking about the only thing that you care about is Is there audio now? Oh well. Life happens, right?